Hello, welcome to the tutorial for using the new Google Sites app. This is a new version of Google Sites that was just introduced and made available very recently, really within the last month, to all Google Drive users. So I'm just going to take you through the basics, basically not just the basics, but I'm going to take you through everything that you would need to accomplish in order to fulfill the requirements of the week 14 assignment, and also kind of give you some insight into how you might make some changes that would apply to your multimedia project in this class. So the first thing that you need to do is go ahead and log into your Google Drive. Then you're going to go up to New, you're going to go down to More, and you should see Google Sites listed there. You'll select that, and that will take you into the Google Sites area where you can begin to build your site. So the first thing that loads is an untitled site. This is kind of your launching page for everything. So we're going to come up here and we're going to title the site itself. So I'm just going to call it Home, which is kind of a standard name to give to the main page of everything. And then I'm going to come up to this area, click it, and give the page a title. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this Dawn's site, just to be brief for now. There are several things that are kind of pre-formatted when you get here. The general layout is what it appears here, and you can do a few formatting kinds of things. You can click here on title and you can change from basically the different font sizes. You don't have options for changing to 18 point versus 24 point and so on. You basically have these four choices available to you right here. You can change the alignment, you can add a hyperlink to it, you can trash it, you can make the text box wider or narrower as you wish. You can do a few modifications to it, but not as much as you might be able to do in other applications. The background that appears here is standard, so if you want to change to something else, you can click the Change Image button, and it allows you to choose one of many different options that are available within Sites itself. So if any of these look appealing to you, you can go ahead and choose one. I'm just going to choose this one right here. But you can also see you can upload an image, you can search online for things either by a URL or a search word. You can go to your albums, or you can get an image from your own Google Drive. So I'm just going to select this one. It will change it, and what you'll notice is that or maybe you won't notice, but what happens is that the background adjusts automatically so that whatever your header is that's typed in will appear. So if you click this little icon in the lower right hand corner, it turns readability on and off, which just adjusts the darkness. In this case, the image that I selected doesn't really change a whole lot either way, but if you have a darker image, you will see an effect for that. You can also come back here and change the header type. You can have a large banner, you can have a title only. The one I have right now is the default, the standard banner. So since this is the main launching page for my entire site, I want it to look appealing. It doesn't have to contain a lot of information because I'm going to contain the main information on a variety of different pages. So this is one page of many. So to get started adding additional content to the site, there are a couple of options for making that happen. If you look over here on the right, there are options for adding a text box, image, embedding a URL, and uploading. You'll also see that there are options for obtaining content from your current Google Drive, and then you can also embed materials from YouTube, which will be useful when in your multimedia project you want to link to a video that you've created. You can also embed a couple of other things that I won't get into for now. The other way that you can add content is if you double click where you would like to add it, the options that appear kind of over on the right will come up here as well. So I'm going to click on text, and it formats content in sections. The sections can be resized as you add additional content. They can be moved. So I'm going to say just general information right now that you can kind of mirror if you want, or add something that's a little more interesting. And then within the section, again, we have options for resizing, and you'll see when I move that you get a grid behind it, and that grid allows you to kind of snap the different objects so that they can be resized and fit and still maintain enough white space to be useful to the reader. You can make changes to the font, you can bold, italicize, and so on. And you can also come over here to this little palette, and you can click to change the background color within that section. So if you choose this one, it's kind of a gray background. This one would be a different color background, or you can choose image. If you choose an image, you can select not only the different images that are available here, but I'm going to actually upload a background image that I have already downloaded from one of the sites in my my Blackboard 14, the week 14 folder, and it's just kind of a general background. So I'm going to upload that one. And I can decide if I like it or not like it, but for now I'm going to keep it there. I probably wouldn't keep that one. It doesn't go well with what's behind it, but it does give me some different options. If I double click in that area, I also get the other options that I showed you before, including images. So let's say that I wanted to search for an image of a calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and search, and let's say I want this one. Actually, I want this one since it doesn't have, it's transparent in the background. And I can click and drag to move the image. It actually doesn't have, oh, I must have clicked the other one too. It does have the white space, but I can resize it, and if I click on one that I don't want, I can hit the trash can to get rid of it. Also, when you click on an image, it does allow you to crop it. You can uncrop, and you can also make it an active hyperlink if you want. Anytime you see these three vertical dots, it means if you click that, you can see other options for that particular object. So alt text is what somebody's browser would display if they're using resources because of disabilities, so it might not be a bad idea to add alt text when you can. So you can see that my text kind of it wrapped around because of the location of the image, but again, I can just click and drag, so it's kind of like a drag and drop, pretty easy to navigate. And if I wanted to add additional information, I can basically add section by section here, so I can again double click and I can add additional content as I wish. So I'm going to stop on this page for now and take you back up here to pages. So this is page 1, this is my home page. I'm now going to go to pages, and I have the option here of adding additional pages to my document. So the week 14 assignment asks you to create 3 additional pages. So the first one is current job, or you can label it differently like professional information or something like that. So I'm going to click done. I'm going to add, as soon as it's finished, a second page called educational background. Done. And I'm going to add a third page, which is overview. Oops, it wasn't finished. I'm going to try it again. Overview of multimedia project. And you can see that up here by default there's going to be all of your pages are going to appear as links that you can switch between when you're actually navigating through your project. So you might want to think about that when naming your pages, because whatever your page name is what appears up here. If it's a long page name, then it's going to appear as a long page name up here. You can also change from top navigation to side navigation. In the new Google Sites, the side navigation I don't think looks or works quite as well as the top navigation, but you can kind of play around with that and see what your preferences are. So in the task list, I indicate that the background image that you included in your first page should be the background image that you include in all of your pages. So I'm going to go to my banner and I'm going to change the image. And the image that I selected for my first page was this one. So I'm going to choose that here. It automatically put that in for me, and then down here would be where I start building the page itself. So I ask you for specific information like the audience and the scope of the project and so on. So I'm not going to type all of that in right now, but I want you to see that you have content in here. You want it to look good, so as images are appropriate, add those. You don't have to include any hyperlinks for this particular task. You will add hyperlinks to probably a newly designed page that you either edit from this one or you create from scratch later on. So the pages over here are in whatever order you want them to be in. So you can see I just dragged and dropped and it changed the order, and when I do that it also changes the order up here in the navigation area. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that back. You can also drag and drop so that pages are subpages of other ones. So if you wanted to have 2 or 3 pages under current job, for example, you could do that just by dragging and dropping on top of something. And if that happens, you'll just get arrows underneath the main page up here that would provide for your navigation. Okay, so I would have to go back to each of these, add the header image that's the same for all of them, and basically manipulate here. So just one thing about the linking to websites. Whenever you are creating a hyperlink to another document, you want to be sure that the text that the person sees is not going to be the URL itself. So if I wanted to say something about my undergraduate degree, whatever it is, I'm going to say University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire. And the assignment requires that you have hyperlinks to the institutions from which you received your degree. So if you select part of what you've typed as text and then click the link, you can then paste in preferably the URL and then click apply. So that's pretty straightforward. I think it will operate pretty much the way you want it to operate. I'm going to go back to my home page because one of the things that I indicate on the task sheet that you need to include here is a last updated date, and you probably want to put that on your home page. And I think I want to center that. It doesn't have to be really big. You might want to have your name there, maybe not. That's entirely up to you as well. But you do want to have some information. It doesn't have to be on every page necessarily, but it does need to be there someplace. One thing I haven't talked about yet is the themes option up here, which does allow changes in, this would be for the background color that appears as you create new sections. You can change to several different colors. You can change the font style a little bit, not too many choices. And then it gives you a few options down here for the general format of your site. So you don't have a lot of choices, but because HTML code is built into everything, at least you get a few. Another thing that's worth knowing about is the preview option that Google Sites has available. If you click on the little eyeball up here, it allows you to see what somebody who's viewing your site would see. So the default is it shows you what they'll see on a computer screen, but you can click so that it shows you what it will look like on a tablet or what it will look like on a smartphone. So if you want to make adjustments based on how it looks in any of those different display types, you can. And all of your links will work, so you can view each one there as well. If you are working on a site where you want multiple people to be able to edit, you can click Add Editors to it. And basically, the last thing I think I need to make you aware of is this Publish button right here. Your project, your entire site, is not going to be available online until you tell it to publish, and then you have to name the site itself. So the name has to be something with no spaces in it. So I'm just going to say About Dawn. It will give you a message if that site is already taken or the name of that site is taken, and then I can click Publish, and after it finishes working it gives you a message saying your site has been published successfully. That actually appears a little bit below the spot that you can see right now. So I just made an adjustment. So you get this little message, your site has been published successfully, and it gives you the opportunity to view it. And if you do so, then you will actually see the URL of the site itself. So for the assignment, I ask you to use a URL shortener. So instead of seeing this site specifically, the one that you paste into Blackboard should be one that is shorter than this. It won't say sites in it at all, and it won't have the page name that you gave it. But that's basically the assignment. It's pretty straightforward. Working in Google Sites, and I think you can have a lot of fun with the design. You do want it to look good. You want to be sure it applies all of the principles that I described in the other video. If you have questions, let me know.